board, and we are going to be doing a lot of discussions. Remember, yesterday was a busy day in the world of current affairs, in politics across the entire globe, and this is where we are able to see the coffee bill generating chaos in Parliament. That discussion will be coming up later on, where I will be having two guests. That is, one, I will be having the Assistant RCC in charge of Ivu Division. John Ambigithi will be here together with former Ivu County Member of Parliament, that is Honorable Atiku Bernard. They will be here telling us about this. And they will be analyzing that and what that speaks of our democracy and where that leaves the final consumer, I mean he who takes coffee, and then the one who grows. Where does that leave the two sides? And government also in the image is not also going to be left out. Where does government also really, maybe leave its stands is where we shall be having a discussion coming on later on. And also later on, I will be also touching something small on the elections in America and what this means to Africans in terms of the foreign policy that is going to be also implemented by the leader-elect. That is Donald Trump, who becomes the 47th president of America. And this is a re-election. After missing out last elections, he bounces back after beating Kamala Harris in yesterday's elections in there, and I will be also touching the discussion later on, and they will be also explaining what that means to us later on. But I want to say welcome aboard. And yesterday we were able to see journalists boycotting Parliament coverage after detention by security. That is also another thing that we did see yesterday, and now journalists are covering parliamentary proceedings, and their Uganda parliamentary press session have launched an indefinite boycott that is of parliamentary business following disturbing incident where security personnel confined them also in a conference hall in there. And this unprecedented protest highlights growing concerns over press freedom. And today, if you look at the issues of press freedom, press is not supposed to be banned. But in most cases, we see journalists being stopped from covering several events, several activities for different reasons. And this is where the journalists also really are not feeling well, most especially those who have been covering Parliament, because not every journalist is accredited to cover Parliament. This is the assurance, solely what people do not know. And these are the accredited journalists who are also permitted to cover Parliament. And if at all they are stopped from also covering Parliament proceedings, then it becomes quite difficult in there to also allow them also continue doing their works in a way that is a bit transparent in there, because the public may not be knowing what is happening outside. It is the journalists also that will be letting the world know what is happening in there. And with the kind of heated debate that we were able to see yesterday, where there was opposition in terms of also really merger, where those who were in support of the motion, we are also really ready to do what it takes to make sure that this bill succeeds, and indeed it succeeded. I don't know what that means. Later on, that discussion will be, of course, coming later on. And this is where I want to welcome you on board and say you will be also free to share your thoughts and opinions in relation to this matter that we are looking out for in this morning. And that discussion, of course, will be coming on in the next 6 minutes. That is where I want to welcome you and say stay tuned. But, of course, before now, we are going to be looking at a number of stories where yesterday there was excitement. I don't want to say there was excitement in relation to the return of the National Integrity Awards, which have also returned, and this is also where we are going to be seeing names nominated. And you can also as well nominate names of persons whom you feel are serving the world without any compromise and who are doing their work with a lot of due diligence. You can also nominate their names now, as nominations are already open. And Civil Society Network of West Nile have also launched that, and they're already taking names, where you can be able to solely pick a name of any person whom you feel must be nominated solely for the works they're doing, and all you need to do is have their names and take them to the nearest non-governmental or civil society organization around you, and the names will be also really taken to, that is the hub that will be also really having these names also really verified, and the officials who qualify, of course, will now be honored. And that is to promote transparency and also reduce corruption. And I believe the National Integrity Awards are going to be doing a lot, first of all, in terms of promoting honesty, and also in terms of promoting persons to work with integrity. Because if you look at the issues of corruption, most especially among some leaders, then I believe motivating them through this award, where it is not monitoring, but of course, being honored. I believe people who mind about their reputation, in most cases, also wouldn't want to engage in activities that will turn them corrupt. And that is what exactly we shall be seeing happening, and I hope names of persons in West Nile sub-region who have served with a lot of integrity deserve to be nominated, and that is where entirely it is in the citizens. That's why it's called the Citizens Integrity Awards. It is you who is watching me this morning to nominate those names, and then the names will be verified thoroughly by a team of qualified judges who will be also taking those names for the next exercise of having these people also be awarded. And that is where we shall be seeing those people awarded. And the last also really awards, we were able to see former police public relations officer, that is Josephine Anguchia, being awarded, and together with Honorable Cassiano Wadri, who also really happened to have emerged and reached up to the national level in there. And that is where we are going to be also stopping the discussions and taking a yet short commercial break that will be ushering us into the next discussion. This is the KOKOLIRIKO Live Show with me, Farish Majid. When we bounce back, we are going to be looking at more of those issues. Stay tuned.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
The dance of shadows and light lies the heart of Uganda's resilience amidst the challenges of the night, where innovation meets necessity and education refuses to be dimmed, where connection thrives in the absence of power. Embrace the power of the sun with StarTime's solar range of solutions, and empower your journey towards a brighter tomorrow. StarTime Solar. Power your life. Jude Bellingham, Vinicius Jr., Lamine Yamal, Antoine Griezmann. La Liga comes to Star Times.
A wild celebration!
The big stars, the tiki-taka football, Real Madrid and Barcelona live in your living room.
Real Madrid, a team of dreams!
Catch all 380 games live and in HD on Sports Premium Channel 259 and Channel 246 starting this August 15th. Subscribe to StarTimes Classic or Smart Bouquet at 36,000 Uganda shillings to enjoy the football experience affordably. StarTimes Football and Limited Passion. In the dance of shadows and light lies the heart of Uganda's resilience amidst the challenges of the night, where innovation meets necessity and education refuses to be dimmed, where connection thrives in the absence of power. Embrace the power of the sun with StarTime's solar range of solutions and empower your journey towards a brighter tomorrow. StarTimes Solar. Power your life.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back from the short commercial break. We are back into this half of the hour and are being joined by my guests. Seated on my right is former Ivu County Member of Parliament, that is Honorable Tiku Bernard, who happens to be the chairperson of Arua City Land Board. And one of the discussions that we are going to be also talking in one way or the other also really touches on land, that is growing of coffee, because you cannot grow coffee in air. You grow it on land, and that discussion will be coming later on. But first things first, you most welcome Honorable to this discussion.
Thank you very much. Good morning, our viewers of West Nile TV. I'm glad to be here this morning to be part of this discussion. But you missed, I'm a former member of parliament, and chair of Land Board, but also a farmer.
Okay, that is most important.
I'm a passionate farmer of cocoa
okay.
and coffee.
Okay, that's quite good.
And therefore it's important that I bring that out.
All right, thank you so much, Honorable, for making it on the show. And I do have Honorable, he's not Honorable, sorry for that.
Never know.
He's Commissioner, never know you
Maybe
be
you are
having...
prophesying.
Because, no, I'm prophesizing, because the way he is becoming famous in Ivu, you never know this time around. People of Ivu may also decide and say, Commissioner, remain here, and we are giving you this slot. You're most welcome.
No, thank you. Good morning, viewers.
Okay, Amamuke, that is what we need to, I think he has grasped one or two already.
Hour before.
Okay.
Maro Mbigiti Godfrey Jonah. My name is Mbigiti Godfrey Jonah.
Okay.
Deputy RCC in charge of Ivu.
Okay. I don't know if it is by coincidence or by choice, both of them happen to be from Ivu, and this is where we are going to be having a lot of discussions. And the discussions that we are going to be discussing are not only for West Nile sub-region, the discussions cut across the entire nation. And we will want first of all start by looking at what happened yesterday surrounding the merger of the coffee bill in there, which already has been passed into law, amidst also controversy where we're able to see blows being exchanged. That discussion will be also really unfolding on the show as well. And I will be also asking them on the election of Donald Trump as the 47th President of the United States. What that does mean to Africa and where does that leave us? That, of course, also will be coming later on. But first things first, let's look at what happened yesterday in Parliament, where blows were exchanged as the merger was also really seen there, where UCDA has now been taken to Ministry of Agriculture. Where does that leave the farmer and the final consumer of this coffee? But first things first, why the controversy?
Thank you very much. First of all, the situation that happened in Parliament was unfortunate between the two colleagues, or my current colleagues in Parliament, because I've worked with both of them. And it's only in this Parliament that I am not there. But allow me to start by clarifying. There has been a lot of ulabalo on social media where people are saying it is Atiku who boxed Honorable Zake.
That's quite unfortunate.
So I need to clarify that, or to clear that. It wasn't me. I was in Arua here watching everything on UBC. And therefore, whatever action took place in Parliament, I was not part of it.
Okay.
And secondly, since the last general elections, I'm on my sabbatical leave.
Okay.
I'm very fully occupied here in West Nile, and particularly in Arua City, chairing the land board, the city land board, and also doing my agriculture in terms of raising cocoa seedlings, and also planting and encouraging farmers in West Nile to embrace a perennial crop for once at least in this region, to be able to, you know, break the bondage of vicious cycle of poverty. It's not new that in the August House there are scandals or scuffles of that nature. The only difference that we saw yesterday was that the scuffle ensued over a small matter between the two. It was not actually over the main subject of debate of the day. which was supposed to have been the amendment to the Coffee Act. So we will, of course, it took the limelight of the day because we saw members of parliament from both sides getting engulfed in the whole scuffle and forcing the House to be suspended. And eventually, of course, we saw also the chambers being switched off from power. There was darkness during the day in the House. And some people were carried out by force from the chambers, and we don't know where they were taken or whether they were released thereafter. We saw our elder, General Moses Ali, crawling out of the chambers, being helped out. So the whole situation became a bit of ugly because we all know that the institution of parliament is a house for debate.
Surely.
A house of debate for sober minds, for informed people. And this was purely a legislative matter where we expected all sides to come with the data, with information, to submit in defense of their position. So we saw a lot of heckling, lack of respect for the chair or the speaker of the day, and leading to what eventually happened. Before the act of the fight, one of the characters involved, the Honorable Zake, is not new to this kind of events. We saw in the 9th Parliament, he was part of the scuffle. In the 10th Parliament, he was also involved in a scuffle. And this time round, he also came before the House. There's a clip circulating on social media where he was putting on an overall and informing the public that he's prepared to come for a fight or for a showdown.
Okay, this is one clearly that it was seen, according to what we are able to see, the opposition seemed to have been determined. And then the movers and also the people who were behind also the intentional movement of this merger were also on that side determined. Given the fact that we had at one time intervention from the executive, we were able to see that happening, and he made remarks on that. Now the question I'm asking myself is that what does this speak of our democracy as a country?
Of course, it's a big test on our democracy because the democratic principles state that we are supposed to operate in a plural environment where divergent views are supposed to be presented and a common position is adopted. Now, the platform is there. The platform is there in the sense that the parliament consists of different political parties. We have the ruling party, the NRM, which has the majority members, because you become a ruling party because of having the numbers. And you become an opposition party because of the numbers being few, but above the minority. Now, we also have other minor parties with fewer members of parliament. So it is a multiplicity of political entities in that August House. And then the election of the speaker, the chairperson, who is supposed to be neutral, to give opportunity for both sides to express themselves, it is also elected by these members of this August House. So the arrangement under which this democratic principle or expression is expressed is in such a way that each group is supposed to organize themselves. Now, for an agenda like of yesterday, or an agenda, this matter was not only for yesterday. The rationalization of agencies
has been
ministries is an arrangement that started way back in the 9th Parliament. And discussions kept on going. And along the way, some got rationalized. I saw electricity rural electrification, rural electrification agency, what is called REA, was actually rationalized and merged into Ministry of Energy at the beginning of this parliament. And there are many others which also got rationalized and got mainstreamed in the ministries. So, but this time, it was almost sweeping across all agencies without an exclusivity or without somebody saying that UCDA should be left out. All agencies in government or in the ministries or that are supposed to be under ministries were supposed to be mainstreamed. So this debate has been going on. Technically, even some of the agencies, the leadership of the agencies have been involved in this discussion. So whatever we are seeing that tantamounted into what we saw yesterday has been building ground in different camps where some of the individuals in these agencies that fear to be merged back into the ministries were serving. Of course, they know it is only parliament that would merge or that would rationalize these entities. So there are lobbying groups, lobbying different groups. People, others lobbying members of parliament from the ruling party, others lobbying members of parliament from the opposition, independents, to support their position. Same was applying also on the side of government. People in the ministry. Ministers, commissioners, permanent secretaries were also interacting with members of parliament. So there has been a lot of back and forth movement and debates, lobbying left, right, and center to support each position. So what we now saw is that coming to the final showdown, the NRM, of course, under their chairmanship of His Excellency the President, called his members to caucus, to agree on a common position, and that's what democracy states.
So in other words, that determined the results of yesterday.
Yes, you must organize your team. The opposition on the other side also are supposed to have organized their caucus and agree on how they are going to defend their position. So really,
that is where I want to hold on to with you there, and I will bring you back. And the several interventions and the direction that came in yesterday, you will be tackling that later on. But now I want to come back to Jonah on the issue of security. The blows that we witnessed yesterday, what does that speak of our security, most especially in that house, where we were able to see members of parliament protecting the speaker as she was moving away, and then the other colleagues we also really whisked off. And what exactly does that tell of our security in the parliament?
Well, one, I want to say that what happened yesterday was very unfortunate. And as state, I can't say that we did bad to do what we did as state to save the situation. One, my senior colleague, Honorable Bernard Atiku, has ably explained the genesis of this. You know, Honorable Zaki was even warming.
But he was the one sitting on a chair, if you can clearly observe it. He was the initial owner of that seat that caused problems. He was the one that was seated there and went to make a remark, only to return back for Anthony Cole to take the seat.
But would that cause a fight? Really, as members of parliament? So, I look at it as a person who came from the word go. He came to fight. And that humiliation his colleague went through. To me, I see he was on defensive. He was trying to be on a self-defense. Because the way he was sweeping him, you know, the guy tried to laugh to fall down. And now, you know, it was quite an embarrassing thing. So, but what I want to say that...
but that's called for the revenge. How he was able to punch the man. Is that justifiable?
Because he didn't know whether he was the car alone or other people.
So,
so he had to show that he is ready to defend himself.
Okay.
Should Zake and his team come to destroy him. But my appeal is that let this be the last. Because now, one senior officer, one senior citizen told me sometime that it is only in church where I don't find fights. But in Parliament, the way he was trying to bring it, it was like it is normal. Whereas when you see you are losing, you say, okay, let me lose, but when I've boxed one, you know, that kind of thinking is not good in Parliament. And to go a little bit far, this thing of UCDA, as seniors put it, many were rationalized. It's not that government or any of them was looking at that alone. It has been a series. So, to me, I feel, and if you can go back, our people had lost coffee. They had decided to go and cultivate vanilla. The likes of the late Colonel Kasirye, who died as a brigadier at the time of brigadier, but we fondly refer to him as Colonel Kasirye. The Sekalalas, these were the very big farmers in the central region, farming vanilla, and others also took that course. And they destroyed the coffee. But His Excellency, the President, moved the teams to bring back coffee. And even OWC, they gave up seedlings. Then later we were joined by the Katikio, the current, Emwanterimba.
The campaign.
The campaign. And now, we've reached a point where we find that now we are stabilized. Coffee is back. And now, we can sell the way we used to do. Without this authority, the UCDA.
But UCDA played its part, only that they had the challenge of marketing this coffee. Because if you look at Uganda's coffee, it is not highly being exported out. The challenge has basically been marketing. Do you think the merger of taking UCDA back to the Mother Ministry of Agriculture will address this concern? Do you think it's going to be addressing? Because there are rumors already in place that there's another body that's going to be emerging this time around to market this coffee.
You know what? On that issue, we are not badly off.
Okay.
We have even a full ministry. We have a full minister in charge of that. So why do we fear? Why do we think that the minister will not solve?
Okay.
You get? So, as a senior colleague put it, I think those who are in there, they feel they should not let it go. Because it has been their source of what?
Livelihood.
Of livelihood or income. And they were getting hefty paychecks. So, and we are looking at being on the same level.
Okay.
We have salary disparities and all that kind of stuff. So these authorities have created a lot of anxiety among the people.
Okay.
Be it public service or what. You know, you find a person taking his monthly salary almost 100 million.
Okay.
Far above what a minister gets. The minister who supervises, you know. So whatever is being done is done in good faith.
Okay. That is now where I want to engage Honorable Atiku. Still on the controversy we were able to see and this issue becoming contentious. At one time, directive came from above. And then the independence of some of the leaders is a bit questionable. I remember a scenario where the Speaker of Parliament was quoted making a remark as far as this issue is concerned, urging members of Parliament also to support this merger here. What does that leave us when it comes to independence of the House, most especially by the chairs? And then secondly, interference also really from above on issues of Parliament.
Now, we need to understand.
Because if I can be able to solely quote the President, he called these people as, maybe, was it criminals, as thieves? Something of that sort.
Now, the President is entitled to his opinion. So are other leaders. And we all know that we have 3 arms of government, the judiciary, the legislature, and the executive. And the most active are the 2. The judiciary, the legislature and the executive, because they are involved almost in everyday life of governance in this country. Therefore, you would expect the leaders of these 2 institutions or arms of government to always appear in the media. Now, I want to dispel the narrative that the Speaker was caught, taking a position. Because we are not privy to the whole discussion between the Speaker and the clerk and the leader of government business, the government chief whip. Because the government chief whip at that time, if you remember, was mobilizing his members. And indeed, they are supposed to mobilize and report to the Speaker that I have all my members mobilized. Because when the Speaker is about to take a vote, she must ascertain the numbers. Now, the clip that brought out the mentioning of a region, say the Baganda or the Buganda region caucus, there was a caucus.
Yes.
The Buganda caucus actually sat to do what? To present their position. So I'm not, as I said, I'm not privy really to the whole discussion, but I'm very sure that the Speaker could have been having that discussion in regards to the caucuses that were, trying to position themselves for the debate.
Okay.
So we need to give the Speaker the benefit
Of doubt.
to explain her position on what she was mentioning, or the context in which the word Buganda came out.
Okay.
So that it is understood. But we leave that to the dynamics of what was happening during that discussion. Now, coming to the position, the directive that was issued by the President. Of course, the modus and operandi of different leaders.
Okay. Honorable, sorry to interrupt you short. I can see we're already a minute after 8 o'clock. I would wish maybe we continue with the discussions in the second hour. This is the KOKOLIRIKO live show with me, Farish Majid, and this morning I do have gentlemen who are already elaborately explaining to you what the merger means and why the controversy was generated in relation to that bill. We are taking a short commercial break. When we bounce back, we continue with the discussions up to 9 o'clock. Stay tuned.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
In the dance of shadows and light lies the heart of Uganda's resilience amidst the challenges of the night, where innovation meets necessity and education refuses to be dimmed, where connection thrives in the absence of power. Embrace the power of the sun with StarTime's solar range of solutions and empower your journey towards a brighter tomorrow. StarTime Solar. Power your life.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back from the short commercial break. We are already into the second hour of the show, 7 minutes down the road. This is the KOKOLIRIKO live show on West Nile TV, channel 477 on StarTimes, where we are also really live on Zuku on the StarTime, on the platform that is of 0073. Not forgetting our new baby, Azam 369 is the channel where you will be in position to watch us every time, every mornings, right from Mondays to Fridays, 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock. And this is where we bring you discussions in relation to what's happening politically, socially, economically, all in all, to make sure that you're informed and entertained as well. Because we have a set of programs that will be also aligned for you due course of the day, all to make sure that you are not left out in any aspect of life. But for now, we are still discussing the controversy that surrounded yesterday's parliament proceedings, where blows were exchanged, where microphones had to be turned off, light at one time disappeared, and people had to be also protected to be moved out. I don't know what that speaks of our parliament and what that speaks of our debate, but the biggest is the interference. I want to talk about the interference that was seen yesterday, where the other arm was also able to also give a directive to AMBI. What does that mean? And that was where Honorable Atiku was yet making submission before we ran out of time. You're most welcome to continue with the discussion from there.
Thank you. Majid, as I said, the dynamics around such situations vary. And of course, this, first of all, the vote on the amendment of the coffee bill should have happened the other week.
Okay. This was it the second or third reading?
Yes.
Okay.
The second reading.
Second reading, sorry.
Yeah, should have happened the other day, but the speaker had to postpone it. Of course, there was tension, a lot of tension, and then eventually, she, in her wisdom, she postponed the debate on the report of the committee. And I had thought during this period, the various interest groups would have, gotten into caucuses to harmonize their positions before they came on the floor yesterday. And I must give credit to the NRM side. They took this period to go and organize themselves. Of course, you must have heard before the caucus, some NRM MPs were against the rationalization. But when it came to voting, how many people voted? Was it 300 plus?
Yeah.
Who voted in favor of the merger? Now that shows to you the power of caucusing. The caucusing that took place in the president's farm yielded the unanimous vote in support from the NRM side.
Okay.
It was difficult to tell the people who, there were many people who were very vocal on social media. There are members of NRM who addressed press conference jointly with the opposition members, but on the floor it was a different story.
Okay.
The result reflected that the NRM actually took the day.
Okay.
And already we know numerically the opposition are few.
Okay.
So the opposition fellows should have scientifically found a way into eating into NRM to support their side or to support their view.
Okay.
But coming with a lot of tension and causing commotion and what have you was a trick of a failing, strategy.
Okay.
And we of course saw now it being climaxed by the behavior of Honorable Zake that eventually led to the scuffle that ensued. But before that, you would see that the conduct of the different individuals in opposition was either to fail the motion from being put to vote or from disrupting the whole thing.
Okay.
But that is a house which is commanded by the Speaker and, of course, being supported by the various security agencies. Parliament is full of security, from police up to SFC.
Okay.
That one people should know. So it's not a place where you cause havoc or insecurity and you get out with it.
Okay.
So even inside there, actual Parliament has its own police station.
Yeah.
So when you cause a problem or you break the law there, you will be arrested and taken in.
Okay.
They will not take you to CPS. They will put
Take you to the police of Parliament. Okay.
And from there they can take you to court.
But is it allowed for people to move into the chambers with guns?
Now, that is one
where
thing
they
we
will
need to
challenge.
debunk. You saw, of course, Honorable
There's a video circulating, because there's a video circulating.
Yes, there's the
moved
video, yes. Actually, the good thing is the records are all captured. Honorable Semuju is the one who raised the matter of security.
Okay.
And a gun being, actually he was just raising it wildly without having a specific culprit identified. Now after that, I don't know how the Speaker ruled, but eventually Honorable Zake insisted that there was a man having a gun in the house.
Okay.
Now, what did the Speaker do? Speaker directed the Sergeant at Arms. Sergeant at Arms is the head of security in the chambers.
Okay.
So Sergeant at Arms asked, the Speaker asked Honorable Zake to point the individual out. And indeed he pointed the individual. And the Speaker called the person to step forward.
For check.
And asked Sergeant at Arms to check this person. Now when the Sergeant at Arms conducted a body search, what did she get? She picked a walkie-talkie.
Okay.
Which I think Honorable Zake had seen as a gun.
Okay.
Now when she showed it, displayed it, Zake was still not satisfied and insisted in doing the body search himself, which is below the decorum of a Member of Parliament. A Member of Parliament is only supposed to point, then allow the Sergeant at Arms to do his or her work. Okay. Now in this case, Honorable Zake actually went a step ahead to interfere with the work of the Sergeant at Arms by conducting the body search on this suspect. Okay. And what did it yield? Honorable Zake came up actually empty-handed. Okay. He never got any gun or any weapon on this gentleman. Now that and eventually walked back. Now on walking back is when he found actually his seat had already been taken. He was already wounded. Okay. Mentally he was already disorganized. Okay. His allegation was already debunked as false. Okay. So he was looking for a fallback position. Unfortunately, his fallback position landed him into what has now taken him to
I see.
Nsambia Hospital.
Now that leaves me with one question.
Yes.
Do you appreciate the way business was being conducted yesterday in terms of the voting?
Now, the circumstances, of course, changed. It's not the really ideal environment in which we expected Parliament to conduct itself. But you saw already the tempers were high up, the dynamics had changed, but decisions had to be made.
Okay.
So the circumstances surrounding how the decisions were made does not arise now at this material time. The fact is, a decision was made, and the decision was made not only affecting one entity, a decision was made affecting many entities.
Okay.
So that's the report, and we move forward.
Okay.
The burden of proof now shifts on government to prove that indeed the rationalization has saved government resources, has improved services, is going to make people richer than when it was under UCDA.
Okay, that's where I want to bring now Commissioner on this same matter. Where does this leave the different players now that UCDA has moved to under Minister of Agriculture? Where will this leave the different key players? I mean the government, I mean the farmers themselves, and the consumer. What do you think maybe will change?
Thank you. But before I divulge into that, I wanted a bit to say that we are in a global village. Okay. I want to congratulate President Trump. The people of America spoke in a mighty way because most people didn't expect it. But that's what democracy dictates. And that is about numbers. Okay. Also, as a city, today we are hosting our counterpart from the territory of Aru. We are hosting them at Lesuva. As the Arua district, Arua city, Maracha district, and Koboko, we as a team, we are hosting them. It is a high-level delegation that is coming. We are also having the divisional commander of the northern region is going to be with us. The first deputy director general of ISO, General Taban, is also with us. So, as a city, we are going to be busy. They are here for 2 days, today and tomorrow. Our business community, please take advantage of this. Come and share with the people of Walu. Aru, as a territory, we benefit a lot from them, and vice versa. Okay. So the DRC community, which is trading in Arua, Arua city, this is the time to meet your leadership. You can find a way of meeting them before they go back. Okay. To share moment.
Okay. Now, maybe I would suggest that discussion comes in later on towards the end.
Okay. Now, back to what you are asking. Rationalization, as Honorable Bernard put it, it is not arbitrarily done. It is something thought of, and it has been on for quite some time. He said it started with the 9th Parliament. And due to sensitivity of that matter and the money involved, remember, when you do it, there are some people who lose jobs. And also, you have to compensate. Some you have to give them compensation because it's more or less not ready to get another job, a more paying job, like what he... So all those were considered. And now, as I told you, we have the ministry in charge. You know, it is intertwined. The Minister of Agriculture, the Minister of Trade and Industry, all play a role in promoting ourselves. exports out there. And as I put it, there is nothing to fear that our farmers or our business community is going to suffer in any way if this thing is what? Is disbanded. So, to me, I feel where we are, we are even going to be better.
Okay.
Yes, because the president created portfolios. You find a minister in charge of, a minister of state in charge of trade, a minister of state in charge of industries, like that. We have a minister in charge of investment. So all those portfolios were not created for nothing.
Okay.
And why are we doing this rationalization? Is to fight duplicity. People were doing the same,
more or less the same thing.
Yeah, almost the same thing. So you find that some officers...
Just look at NFA, National Forest Authority, and then there's Ministry of Water and
Environment.
Environment,
Yes,
then you have
wildlife, whatever,
NEMA.
then NEMA,
So,
you know, that kind of stuff. And you find that when they are trying to do their work, they overlap. You find the other one crossing over.
But these were questions by the government, and the same parliament must have approved this.
Yes.
Could it have been a mistake, or these were intentional?
We couldn't say.
Because
yes,
when they were created, there were no problems. But now being dissolved is bringing problems. Why is this happening this time?
I would say the creation of these agencies were good.
Well, was necessary.
Yeah, it was
at
necessary
that time.
at the time when, first of all, ministries were robust.
Yeah.
There was a lot of bureaucracy. The red tape in the government is in the ministries.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the government thought it wise to have these agencies to do things, to cut the red tape, to make things move faster. Now, the work UNRWA has been doing is the work that used to be done by Ministry of Works and Transport.
Yes.
Now, the period between the time of creating UNRWA and now should be able to tell us whether it is necessary to have an executive director in charge of UNRWA.
Gain the momentum.
Exactly.
Yeah,
or
because
we should bring UNRWA as a department under Ministry of Works and Transport and cut off that expense where we are paying executive director, deputy executive director, is it what? Let all these technical staff be moved under Ministry of Works and Transport.
Okay.
And
now to array the fears of those who are fearing the merger, do you think
now there are
merger
mechanisms
is going to achieve? Oh,
let me give assurance.
Maybe they are going to lose.
There is actually a mechanism. This is not the first time government is doing this.
Okay.
There was a time when privatization was done. People were laid off.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, many of them, those who are permanent and pensionable, were put on a pension scheme.
Oh, yeah.
And they're getting their money. Those who are supposed to be paid off were paid off. Now, nobody is going to last in every government position. Much as they say, these public positions, public service positions are permanent and pensionable. Nobody enjoys those positions forever. There's a time when you have to leave. When you clock 60, you must go. So,
now,
this rationalization has been well studied.
Okay.
The caliber, the cadreship in each of the agencies has been studied. If you have proven yourself to be an outstanding servant in those positions, automatically you'll fit. Now, if the system finds that it cannot accommodate you, you'll be compensated.
Okay.
If you find that you have not been compensated enough, you'll go to court. There are people who were affected by privatization and ended up in court. Now, the same will happen. So there are mechanisms in place for redress.
Okay.
Where you feel dissatisfied, you can apply a mechanism that can give you justice.
Okay.
So for now, let us agree that this rationalization is in good faith, much as we know there are some entities that were outshining. And the one for UCDA is expected because for a period of time, coffee went down.
yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
And indeed, during the establishment of UCDA, we saw a rise. And it was not in isolation. NADS played a part.
Okay.
NARO did a lot of research.
Yes.
UCDA was involved in marketing, was involved in distribution of seedlings, in encouraging farmers.
And the OWC.
Exactly. OWC and then the Buganda Kingdom and individuals, various individuals. So everybody played a part. Now, this rationalization has also come at a time when people were getting boom, coffee boom. People got money that they had never gotten. And it is tax-free. Agricultural exports do not attract a lot of taxes, much as there is a cess. People are not even feeling the cess that they are paying to UCDA or to Ministry of Finance. So, in this environment, you would expect the resistance. From the known, where you are getting a lot of money, to be taken to another direction where you expect fears. Of course, people were expecting fears, and rightly so, because coffee went down when there was no UCDA, when it was under Ministry of Agriculture. Now, you are taking us back to the ministry where coffee was doing badly. So there's a fear, but the beauty is that there is capacity. The people who have been manning UCDA are not going to be just driven out. They are going to be absorbed, incorporated in government, in the ministry.
Line ministry.
Exactly, and they continue doing what they've been doing in UCDA, but under this new arrangement. So really, I look at this with optimism and with hope that we should expect better. And the burden, of course, as I said, of proof is on government. To tell people that after a year, this is what you are getting under UCDA. But now, under ministry, you have moved a notch up. After 2 years, after 3 years, after 4 years, and eventually, people will come to appreciate. And I'm happy it has happened before the next general elections. So NRM has all that burden in this remaining 1 year to prove to the coffee farmers that indeed what we did was in your best interest. But if it goes negative, automatically they'll also have the political what? Hot seat.
That is where now I want to bring on Mr. Jonah. Where maybe what message would you have for the farmers, most especially those who have now been living in fear of planting this coffee further?
One, our farmers out there, I want to say that this is not, coffee is not for Central alone. Bugisu is doing it, Soga is doing it, even Western is doing it. So to me, I see some politicians trying to politicize it. But what NRM government, under the leadership of His Excellency the President, was doing it for the good of all our people, the farmers. And I want to say they shouldn't fear. Because ideally what UCDA has been doing is what the ministry is going to maintain. The only thing is that we are trying to reduce on our expenditures unnecessarily. That's why we are at times failing to manage the budget.
That is it, and we hope farmers,
we are doing this,
and with the opportunity of our neighboring countries, maybe can I say that there is an opportunity for us to milk from this coffee, if at all we venture into it, because Western Sub-region, Macha's coffee is a traditional crop. In Western Sub-region, we have not seen it being planted in high volumes.
But it's just...
Do you have the market?
Zombo is a very good place.
Yes.
And even Madokolo and other areas. It's just mindset. In fact, West Nile...
The whole of West Nile actually is good for coffee.
It's good for coffee. Honorable said he's doing cocoa. So it's just mindset. Our people out there, please, we need to change. West Nile would be the richest, in fact, because when you see the terrain, the soils and what, We are endowed as a region.
Okay.
So, and the rains we have. So why are we still crying that we are poor and what? I also, in a funny way, I read where they said the West Nilers as the MPs, why do they bother? They don't have anything, you know.
To lose or to gain.
That was a loose talk. Because what we are discussing is for the general country.
Okay.
And sooner or later, even West Nile will be producing coffee. We are here. The agenda, President, what he wants is actually we have a demonstration farm here in Girigiri. You can see the coffee. The president, he planted it
Coffee,
there.
bananas, chicken.
Nice. And they are reaping good. So it's just our people to be focused and start engaging into those productive ventures.
Okay.
That can sustain them for long. Actually, if our people learn, smuggling would be history.
Okay.
Because it is temporary, it has many challenges. People even commit suicide. When you are an officer, by bad luck, intercepts you, and you lose all the monies. Say your capital was 50 millions, and it is swept. You go back to zero. So it is not easy to pick up from there. But when you go to farming, in horticulture and what, you find onions here. A sack is between 600 and 800. Why wouldn't one tap into that?
Okay. That's where we come to the end of the discussion that is surrounding the coffee bill that was finally passed into law amid this controversy from several stakeholders. And before we move out of here, yesterday also really on a quite huge note, we were able to see Americans deciding where Donald Trump was re-elected as the 47th President of the United States of America, and he will be also really leading for yet another 4 terms after almost 4 years of being out of the White House in there. But now he's back. That is where I want to now start off with you, Honorable Atiku Bernard. Where does that leave Africa, given the policies he is going to be laying in place in terms of his foreign policy? First of all, you talked about forceful deportation of immigrants. Where do you think this will leave us as Africans?
Thank you very much. Allow me to take this opportunity to congratulate the American people for continuing to toe the line of democracy. Of course, we envy them for the quality of democracy that they have always displayed. And we know there are 2 front runners in the American politics, that is the Conservative Party and the Democratic Party. And by extension, they have global presence, even here in Uganda. I am a product of National Democratic Institute and the International Republican Institute. When I was still a youth, during the formative stages of Forum for Democratic Change, they gave us a lot of capacity building. Not only FDC, by the way, even NRM. I have colleagues who are now in leadership, like the chairman of Omoro District, who are together with them. Some of my colleagues have become RCCs, RDCs, those with whom were youths on the other side of NRM. They gave us a lot of capacity building. They took us up to Washington, D.C., and various parts of the country to experience what democracy is. When you see some of us expressing ourselves in the manner in which we express ourselves, it's because we had some touch by polished politicians or democratic practitioners. And that's why there's a difference among some of us.
Okay.
Now, we congratulate the American people for continuing to toe the line of democracy and the quality of democracy. We congratulate the participants in those elections, those who won, particularly President Trump. This is his 2nd time of bouncing back. And of course, we also congratulate Kamala Harris and her team. You all know that she came in as a dangerous substitute. It was supposed to be Joe Biden to go for his second term. But of course, as age had a toll on him, the members of the Democratic Party saw it necessary that they should switch. And the immediate person they identified was his vice president. That is
Kamala Harris.
Her Excellency Kamala Harris. And she did a great job. Within a short period of time, you know, the Democrats knew that this was not the election. Because changing the candidate alone had its own effect. And she had to arrange a new team. She had to, you know, craft another message to try to fit in. And also balancing between being a vice president and now a candidate, a presidential candidate. So there were a lot of dynamics she had to, you know, cope with during the campaigns. But eventually, the results, the American people spoke, and Trump is now president-elect of the United States of America. Is it the 47th president?
Yes, the 47th president.
So we'll be expecting his swearing in soon. And then
now somebody will be asking, does that have any impact in Africa?
It does. As I said, me personally, I've had capacity building. Not only me, but there are many youths who are now in leadership positions who have benefited from the American politics. Now, that is to tell you that there is already influence of American politics in the various parts of the world. Now, we also know that the American foreign policy is spread out in such a way that, of course, yes, it is to address their best interest, but they also have something that they do in terms of capacity building, in terms of resource, giving out resources. We have, America has their embassy here in Uganda. They have embassies across the world. They have security bases in various parts of Africa. So we know that the American foreign policy is designed to cater for any government that comes in, be it Democrat or Republican. We might have heard whatever Trump said during campaigns. That was what he said in campaigns. But in practice, there are principles that his government will have to follow. Of course, there's some room where he will have to express or to exercise his manifesto or to put it into practice. Now, issues to do with the immigrants is a global scenario, and America is said to be the land of opportunities. So everybody dreams of going to America. So in that process, there are people who go there through the right way, the legal means. They use the legal means. There are also people who go there illegally. Even here in Uganda, if there are some illegal immigrants, our foreign and internal affairs ministries will weed them out and have them deported. Or they'll identify them and find a way of making them settle in our country in a legal manner. You either come in as a refugee or an asylum seeker, and using the legal regime, you are settled. Or you are deported. Because if you go into, we have seen in America, much as it is one of the democracies that is envied, it is also seen to be having a lot of criminality. Now, many times, some of the immigrants are the ones who end up in those criminal cases. Now, those are the category that Trump was speaking about. And I'm very sure the American policy in regards to illegal immigrants is very clear and cut. Those that are found to be really criminals will be weeded out, or will be arrested and put or confined. Those that have room, either that have come in as illegal immigrants but have room to be accommodated in America, will be accommodated.
That's now where I want to bring you, Commissioner, on your view containing America's elections.
Thank you.
What messages maybe do we get from there? What lessons can we as Africa also learn from the American democracy?
As earlier said, I congratulated His Excellency, the President-elect, Donald Trump, for making it second time. It wasn't easy, but as Honorable Bernard Tico put it, America, the democracy that they have serves as our mirror, because we have younger democracies, like in Africa and elsewhere, in Asia and those other areas. America has gone far.
Over 200 years. Bro.
Yeah. So, if we want to check ourselves how we are faring in terms of democracy, we have to look into their democracy.
Okay.
And, well, on their domestic and foreign policies, as he put it, Honorable put it, essentially doesn't change. They are just changing figures. Now, Joe Biden is leaving. We are going to see another face, but the policies remain the same. Actually, no country would allow illegal immigrants. Reason being, it checks the sovereignty of that country. You don't know that person who has entered illegally, what he is planning to do. So even here in Uganda, we don't allow it. Because it means a person entered, it's like this house. A person enters without your knowledge.
And start serving food on the dining table.
And you wonder, much as he greets you, but you
start asking questions.
Yes. You don't sleep well.
Okay.
So what Donald Trump is trying to, in his manifesto,
Okay.
he was right. That is sovereignty. A person who enters America should be cleared. Not this jumping the wall and, you know, that also it has a bearing on the planning.
Okay.
Because how many people do you have? How do you plan for them?
So in other words, what do you think his foreign policy? Do you think his foreign policy will, in one way or the other, favor Africa? Do you think that will help? Oh, it will not.
Absolutely.
Because most of Africans have our dream of wanting to go to America. For better
But
opportunities.
as said, Africans have actually gone to America.
Yeah.
Most of the time, that is where the dream
From
is.
the slave trade period until now, even as we talk, the Africans going there. I saw Pastor Semper, he was one of the voters. He went and cast his vote. He's a dual citizen.
He's a dual citizen.
And we have dual citizens,
Here.
people who have Ugandan citizenship and American citizenship. And therefore, we should expect that, you mentioned it here off air, that we are now in a global village. Actually, you can belong anywhere, but in a legal manner, not in an illegal manner.
Yeah.
Because under the current arrangement, if somebody decides to use illegality, then all state machinery must be focused on that person.
Now,
what is your motive?
Why I'm asking the question of how Africa is going to be affected is, in the foreign policy, is that we have been depending, in terms of donations, mostly from the United States.
Not at all.
Do you think, let's look at the borrowings.
No, it's misinformation. You see, the entities that lend to governments, like World Bank, IMF, and these other institutions that we look up to. Uganda is actually a member of these lending entities. Uganda is a member of World Bank.
What about organizations like you said,
So,
which have been doing a lot of...
it is world over. It's not only for... There's a reason why United States of America gives grants or donations to,
because now they are figures.
Through entities like you said, to a country like Uganda, to address issues to do with the research, to to address issues to do with vaccination, to address issues to do with HIV and AIDS, because these are issues that affect the entire globe.
Okay.
So it is for the safety and health.
So do you think the status quo will remain in his leadership?
So the status quo, actually, you'll expect even more resources to be coming to this country.
Okay. That is where I want to know.
And actually, what I want to say is that much as America is a superpower, but it can't work in isolation.
Okay.
They still need us.
And it hosts the headquarters of the United Nations.
Yes. So people shouldn't fear. People shouldn't fear. But to me, my observation is that we are likely to get more funding than what we have been having during the Joe Biden's administration. Because yeah, there is...
okay, hope. Maybe that, let's keep on having the hope, and I don't know how exactly, maybe we shall be there to witness if...
But there's something that we need to point out. As I said, America has influence globally. And in our current geopolitics, America has a lot of political interests and support that have been given. Just before the elections, the U.S. security... one of the U.S. security foreign personnel was in Kampala, consulting the president over the insecurity in in Sudan.
Okay.
And I'm sure they never came to talk about. You cannot talk about the insecurity in Sudan in isolation.
To what's
it has effect across the northern part of Africa.
Oh yeah.
America has security interests in the Horn of Africa. And Uganda is one of the partners in stabilizing the security in the Horn of Africa. Exactly. And then we have insecurity in the neighborhood here, in DRC.
Okay.
And Uganda has footsteps in DRC in trying to stabilize the area, in trying to stabilize the region in DRC. So you will see a lot of the presence, because Trump's policy, foreign policy, is to ensure there's peace. There's less war.
Oh, yeah.
Now, for you to ensure there's peace and there's less war, you must invest in security apparatus, you must invest in security, humanitarian organizations, you must invest in all aspects that will ensure that there's peace and security. So we expect a lot of that.
He actually spoke about this ending the war in Ukraine, and that is where we're able to see the Muslim community.
And he has been having good relationship with Putin. So you'd expect that Putin, he should be able to talk to Putin.
I'm looking at it this way, Honorable. The sanctions that we have been receiving.
Even sanctions, yes.
Are we going to be seeing them?
No, but you know, sanctions have their own parameters.
That's a matter
never
of
know. That
anyway,
one is
internal
affairs of America.
That's where we are coming to the end of the discussions, and I want to thank you so much for making it through on the show. And maybe in the next few minutes, I will ask you to make your final submissions, as I also want to allow you to go for other duties.
Yes, I want to thank you for hosting us, and I hope this will continue so that we discuss current affairs together and enlighten our people. But I would like to say that the hot debate about rationalization now should come to an end. We should focus on what we're supposed to be doing, and I would like to encourage my people of West Nile to embrace the growing of perennial crops. And by this I mean coffee and cocoa, because these two crops actually do very well in our region. I've tested it for the last 3 years. The crops are doing very well, and there should be no reason why somebody in Yumbe, in Koboko, in Obongi, in Adjumani, in Maracha, in Zombo, in Madiokolo, and Pakwach, or Nebi, should not be growing these two crops. It is a perennial crop. It gives you income anytime throughout the year. That is why other regions have driven poverty out. So there should be no reason why we should step back. Let us step forward, embrace coffee and cocoa, and planting bananas, because that's how we shall collectively address food insecurity and also drive the vicious, or break the vicious cycle of poverty. Okay, you have a task of moving out the people of this city out of poverty. Your message to them, message to those who are watching you.
Mindset. Actually, In the recently concluded census, it put it out clearly that the biggest number is the youth, also women. So as a government, we are looking at fighting that through mindset change, because we are poor not because we are supposed to be poor, but because of some factors. One being that our people needed to be reoriented.
Okay.
The way they think, the way they do their things. Uganda is rich, and government has done many interventions, PGM, Emyoga, and others. But we are not realizing what we are supposed to realize. So our focus as Office of the Presidency is to continuously engage our people on issues to do with socio-economic transformation. We can do fish farming. We can do poultry. People here love eggs, and even across, there is a lot of money in it. We can do irrigation. Why do we rely on natural rains? When Egypt here has never suffered from famine for the last 200 years or so. And yet the River Nile is here with us. So those are the issues that we want to tackle to make our people understand and come out of poverty.
Okay.
Lastly, we are in the period of exams.
The PL candidates are returning back home actually.
Today. I wish them the best, and all those who are still doing exams, I wish you success. But also a message to parents, be in charge, because this is a period when we find these children in this cause, loitering in town. I beg in a strong term that parents take charge.
Okay.
Yes.
Finally, once again, I want to engage you on still the same issue. The learners are returning back home. Others are going to be feeling that they have already made it.
Oh dear.
And yet we still have challenges of teenage pregnancy and early marriages, most especially in the Western sub-region.
It's a very important aspect of our social being. We want to congratulate all the candidates, particularly the O-levelers who have completed the exams. You're already home. Please continue behaving well, be disciplined children, because you still have another step ahead. We have hope. Actually, these are the first products of the new curriculum.
Oh, yeah.
And I have interacted with some. I've interacted with the senior 1 and the senior 2 child. Their expression is next to university graduates.
Oh, yeah.
Now, if you give yourselves another 2-3 years, I have no doubt you will be a very resourceful Ugandan without looking for a job. So all levelers, please be disciplined people, enjoy your holidays. PLE, we wish you well. Come home and start preparing to join senior 1.
Okay.
Because senior 1 is not far. Next year you will be senior 1 in senior 1. Those of you who are preparing for A-level, advanced USCE, I wish you very well, because from Monday is when you are starting your exams. We wish you all the best. Do your part, and we out here as a society are waiting for you, because we want you to come and join us in building this country. For the parents, these children are now going to be our task. Most of them, these are adolescents. They'll want to experiment many things.
Oh, yeah.
So let us be on the lookout. Let the community be on the lookout, because many of these things happen in our neighborhood, in our trading centers, in the towns. So the authorities also should be keen in ensuring that they provide security for our children, so that they are not abused, or so that they don't get engaged in activities that will jeopardize their future.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable, for making it through, and Commissioner as well. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time for making it on the show. And I believe the viewer who has been watching us right from 7 o'clock up to this hour of the morning must have picked at least one or two things also to make sure that he or she understands what is happening also in the world in there. And with that, we come to the end of the program. My name is Farish Majid, and I will be bouncing back tomorrow for the same edition. And from the same time, I'm out. Have a good day.